Hi, my name is Amanda Glinski, and I'm here to talk to you today about trusts. What is a trust? How can it help you? And how does it work? Today, on this video, I'm going to talk about education trusts. What is a trust? A trust is a written document that establishes a relationship between the trustor, who transfers property to the trustee, who manages the property for the benefit of a beneficiary. What is a trustor? Trustor, as I said, also known as a settlor, is someone who creates the trust and transfers the property to the trustee. The trustee is then the owner of the property, but doesn't get all of the beneficial interests of the property. He's holding it for someone else, the beneficiary. The beneficiary can be one individual, it can be a group of individuals, it can even be the original trustor and or the trustee. A trustee can be an individual person. Like I said, it could be the trustor. It could be their spouse or their child or another individual. It could be a professional such as an attorney or someone who works in a bank trust department. The beneficiaries could be any group of people, including, as I said, the original trustor or the trustee. Now, how can a trust help? There are many reasons that people create trusts and transfer property to trusts. I'm going to briefly go over some of them, but like I said, the purpose of this video is to talk about education trusts. Sometimes people have trusts set up for estate tax savings. Sometimes they do it to avoid probate. Sometimes they do it to provide for a disabled child or their minor children. Some people have trusts to provide for the scenario where they have a second marriage or third marriage and they have children from prior relationships and they want to provide for both the spouse and their children after they're gone. And sometimes people use trusts to set up to provide for their loved one's education. There are also charitable trusts, but I'm not going to go into those. How would it work? This is a very general overview. There is no one specific document that you can just go online and say, I need an education trust. Each trust needs to be drafted specifically for you. So if you have any questions about your specific situation, you should contact a legal professional in the state in which you reside. There are some considerations that you need to make when drafting an education trust. One, who will the beneficiaries be? Will they be your children? Will they be your nieces and nephews? Will they be people from your alma mater, from a particular college you attended, from a particular camp you attended, anything like that? You just need to establish who are these people. They don't all have to be born right now. You don't need to know everyone's name. You just need to know how to describe them accurately and adequately. Will all the beneficiaries share equally? Will you favor one set of beneficiaries over another? For instance, if you have an education trust set up for your children and for your nieces and nephews, do you want your children to get more or less than your nieces and nephews? So would you like the beneficiaries to share differently depending on how well they do in school? You should define education. Will education mean primary through high school? Will it mean secondary education through college? Will it mean postgraduate? Will education include 2 and 4-year colleges? Will vocational schools apply? You need to determine what your definition of education will be. Are there any conditions attached to the beneficiaries getting this money? And you want to make sure that your conditions are spelled out adequately so that the trustee knows exactly what to do. The trustee can only act based on what the trust document says, so you need to be as clear as possible. Don't say, my son will get X amount of dollars if he's a good student. You want to define what you think a good student is. Is it a particular grade point average? Is it he needs to major in history versus art? Whatever it is, you need to spell out your conditions. How will the money be doled out? Is it going to be held in separate shares, or will the money be pooled so that every beneficiary can tap into it? Will the money be distributed for particular items, such as will it be distributed just for tuition or just for books or anything education related? Could it be used for application fees for continuing your education? Will the money be separated into shares for each beneficiary and just handed out at the beginning of their education? Do they need to complete their primary education before they can get any lump sum distributions? Can they get income? Can they get principal? Can they get both? When? Are there any minors who will be provided for? If so, you might want to think about getting custodial accounts for these minors. You don't want to just hand a 16-year-old $500 and say, I want you to buy books with it. You want to give it to their guardian, or you want to set up some sort of account, or you want to direct the trustee to pay it directly to the business that is selling the books. So those are some common considerations that you want to take into account when you're drafting an education trust.